Welcome to Avalon, Catalina Island, 2 miles off the coast of California, where thousands of people who enjoy motorcycle racing are congregating for the start of the 5th annual Catalina Grand Prix, run May 14th and 15th, 1955. On Friday, the day before the race, and Saturday, the SS Catalina made 2 trips per day, each time heavily loaded with passengers. They carried approximately 2,000 people per trip. As you can see here, we had quite a congregation. The plane ran a constant shuttle service, even though it was rough that day. To help us out on this commentary, we have a guest who will answer some questions. One of the winners of this Saturday race, John McLaughlin, who in 1953 won 3 events of this race at Catalina, all that one person could win. We watched these planes unload, and every trip had 11 or 12 people aboard.
That's the way to go, Craig, if you get seasick.
I guess so. How about that bouncing out there, though?
Doesn't last as long as the
boat trip. All these people collected along the street are all on one topic: cycle racing. Even the officials. Of course, they had a big job putting up hay bales and putting out the lime along the course, because none of these riders had ever ridden this course before the race. Is that right, John?
That's right. There's no practice allowed. The machines are impounded in this area, right here where you see them now. And we're not allowed to ride them and start them until an hour before the race.
Here we are about to start the race. 38 cycles in each group. Screaming up here, it sounds like a nest of hornets. Here comes another group now. Just listen to this.
These machines are in classes according to the cubic displacement, Craig.
And they're about 175 or so in this one race. We're going to take you here along the course of the actual race itself, up this steep incline. We turn left. It gets a little narrower as we go along. This winding road here gives you practically every kind of contortion they need, isn't it?
That's right. For the pavement, it's very fast, very tricky. We reach a speed going up the hill of about 75 miles an hour on the small machines.
And then right at the end of this, we kind of jump off the pavement, right where this hay bale is. They jump off here and go across a meadow where the pits are located. Does this slow them down any, this jump off?
Not much. They slow down to, there's a bad turn coming into that jump. They slow down to about 30, and then they accelerate off the jump through the pit.
The thing that would slow me down is at the end of this thing. This looks like a pretty tough piece right in here.
It's the trickiest corner really on the course, because if you miss, it's very narrow, and if you miss, you go off a cliff about 100 feet and usually damage the bike to the point where you can't get back on the course.
It still looks to me like they're going a pretty good clip down there.
Around 30 miles an hour down this trail. You see the boy passing there. He's going much faster.
Now here's one man taking a shortcut.
I'll remember that next year.
Yeah. Save yourself a half a second. There's a good spill. The spills don't hurt them much, do they?
No, in this type of racing, the boys are well covered with leathers, and they don't get hurt.
Another spill. I'll have to shoot this slow motion next year so we can get them down there a little longer on the ground. This is the pit area where they gas up or get water or do a little work on the machine. And this takes us from the pit area now up toward the start of what they call the hour trail.
Yes, that's right.
It gets a little narrower and a little more rugged as we go along. About how high do they climb up this particular part of the hour trail?
I'd say 500 feet. It isn't too high. It's very narrow and very fast.
There's a spill. What would you say they take this corner?
20 to 30 miles an hour.
Can you tell the difference just watching these, which ones are really the best riders, or pretty hard, isn't it?
If you see a group, you can tell. You
tell the best one.
It's very hard. It's too hard unless they're passing. It's the only way you can really tell.
So I've done some of them. There's a good spill. But they get right up just like a rubber ball. I bet they feel just they're flying when they come off this part.
They're hanging on very tight. It's very rough down that hill.
And they cross a wooden bridge.
Yes, very slick spot there on that bridge.
They do this all strictly for the trophy. There's no money involved.
No, there's no money involved. Everything's free, and 98% of these riders ride
Oh yeah, this is a real interesting spot here, this bridge.
It's more interesting when you're riding over the course. It's very slick and easy to run into the hay bales, and they really stop you.
Does that hay bale feel pretty solid? Or every hit one?
It feels very solid, but not as solid as the post sitting behind it.
Quite a few of them there, they start their bike up again. Do they have some way of killing it or something for safety?
They have a kill button, usually a kill button, or what do we call a compression release.
You're really busy with both hands then, aren't you?
Yes, we have two levers on each hand and one for each foot, so it keeps you pretty busy operating all the time.
Take a little ride here on the back of a motorcycle. What do they call it? The pillion seat?
Yes.
And show you how it looks at the finish line.
It reaches a speed of about 85 miles an hour down this hill.
That's a good spot. It's a nice corner here. This is coming back from Crescent Street back up around the course again on another lap. You won this first day in the small 15 cc?
Yes, on a 15 cubic inch Bella set.
Well, the race on Sunday is actually going to be more machines but less classes, is that right?
That's right. They have two classes in the big race, the 21 cubic inch class and the unlimited.
About 200 entries.
Yes, 199.
199.
They had 205, but the leaders in the front row were getting around quicker than the...
There's a good bike. Here we have the start of that race Sunday, and they start in groups of 5. They start, what, with number 1?
Yes, you draw for position at a date 2 or 3 weeks prior to the race, and you start out 5 men every 30 seconds.
Well, they don't put all the experts in up in front.
No, it depends on how lucky you are at the drawing.
We went up here a ways at real sharp switchback, and thought maybe we'd get some real action, but everybody took it real easy. All they did was wear out their shoe leather.
It's easier to replace shoe leather than it is the skin.
I guess. Anybody ever wear out a pair of boots on one of these?
Well, I imagine they do. They never wear out any... They wear out tires quite a bit, but I imagine some people do wear out their boots.
This was shot from a bike to give some idea of the course, and leads us into a beautiful shot that illustrates how we have to climb here. You climb from sea level to, what is it, 1,400 feet at the...
Yes, about 14 to 1,500 feet.
Up at the crest.
It's interesting to note that the type of road this is. It's a dirt road that's been oiled with this plain old used engine oil, and it breaks up. Due to the weather, it broke up this year, and it was very tricky. These corners that you see there, boy, going down, they're very slippery right in the corners. And the boys take it easy in the corner and accelerate as hard as they can after they get squared away, or else they'll go down.
This fellow with an X, he's really policing the area as an official, is that right?
Yes, in case somebody's hurt, he can get to the ambulance.
Taking laps around to see if anybody went off or
Yes.
anything happened.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It certainly is a fascinating race. I don't see anybody could ever pass one of these up. They really, everybody cooperates in running these. The participants as well as the different manufacturers and agencies, is that right?
Yes, no one is paid.
No pay.
None of the officials or none of the entrants, no one. Everyone works for nothing. And the officials especially, they work very hard and they don't even get a trophy or a chance at one.
What's this flag?
The man's got a red flag, and he's slowing the riders down because they're going on off of this paved surface to the dirt. And it's a very bad corner. If you miss it, it's about 100 feet, 50 to 100 feet drop off into a reservoir.
Oh, yeah.
They slow down to approximately, I'd say, 5 miles an hour.
Well, if there were an accident or anything, I've followed some other racing. Do you indicate to the riders then that there is some danger ahead with these flags, too?
Oh, yes. In other words, you slow them down.
That's with a red flag.
Yes, frantically waving the flag means there's danger ahead, and the boys pay quite a bit of attention to that. We have a motorcycle also with
If anymore. They get up a pretty good speed coming off here, it seems like we're really moving.
50 to 60 miles an hour on that rough
With
terrain.
that bouncing, it looks higher.
If you lose a handlebar, if your hand falls off one of your
That's a good
handlebars, going down this hill, you'll fall, just like that boy did right there.
But they all get back up and keep on going. I noticed, too, they always make an effort to finish the race.
Well, when you race for nothing, you do all you can, because you wouldn't be out there unless you wanted to race, and that's.
But I mean, even when they get behind and that, they stay in and try to finish it.
There's Bruce Jackson, one of the top scramble stars in Southern California.
Use ordinary gasoline?
Yes, just pump just like we use in the car, just hope we can buy. This is Ray Tanner on the biggest machine in the race, 74 cubic foot. Eddie Kretz Jr. on a Triumph. His father is a famous champion.
Yes, he's been around a long time. How old are some of these fellows that race?
In this race, the riders range from approximately 16 years to 50. Lammy Lamoureux, a Triumph dealer from Glendale, he's probably one of the oldest, about 50 years old.
Still keep racing when they're...
Yes, and he does
40 or
very
50.
good. The boys come from all over the United States and Hawaii and Alaska to race in this race for nothing.
It certainly looks to me like you keep your weight down.
I've
Keep
gained
your
weight.
figure.
Builds up the shoulders and the chest and keeps your legs in very good shape.
We're back in town here now. This was an interesting corner, too, because they come down that street at a pretty good clip, as you mentioned, about 70, 80 miles an hour, and then into this real tight corner, and it's all dug up here. They had to keep sweeping that loose gravel out. That fellow almost lost that broom about 3 different times. That's a good ride. They always get right back up. About how many finished this race, do you remember?
On the average, 50 to 60% finish every year.
Mm-hmm.
The
There were probably 100 or over then that finished it.
yes, on the Sunday's race, I would say there were.
How far down do they give trophies for?
The first 25
First 25.
get a trophy, no matter who you are, what you ride. In the 21-inch, they have 5 trophies for the 21-inch class. Now, if a 21-inch machine finishes in the first 25, he receives that trophy plus the 21-inch trophy.
Oh, yeah. That was a good ride. I noticed some of them hardly ever use their feet, and some of them use them quite a bit.
On the pavement, very few of us race much on the pavement. In the pavement racing, you don't put your feet down too much.
See.
Because if you lose it, it's lost. Your foot won't save it. You can't save it when you're on foot.
Here where you're going probably, what, 15 miles an hour on this sharp corner?
Well, 5 to 15.
5 to 15. Well, I see they almost everyone uses their feet. Even the champ there just went by.
Yes, everybody does. You have to be very careful when you go off from the pavement onto the dirt, because it's 2 different surfaces. One is so slick, after riding on a nice, safe surface like the pavement, and you get into that slick dirt, you have to be very careful because you'll fall down. That's why you see a lot of boys slide out in this particular corner.
That's right.
It's a Manx Norton, a very famous make, ridden by Don Alford, and he is in his 50s. He's ridden all 5 years.
So we made about 3 laps all the way around this now, from the town up around the top of the hill and then down through this meadow, and coming down again to these bridges. You could almost make a whole movie right on these bridges because they had lots of action there. Actually, to the motorcycle rider, this is more than just a sport, isn't that right? It's almost a way of life to him. It's an escape from getting beat down at his job all day long. He can take off on Sunday and go places that we can't go in an automobile.
Yes, where your automobile or any automotive transportation gives up or the motorcycle takes over, we feel that we have the greatest sport in the world. The reason you see so many spills at this bridge is the fact that it's wood and there's dirt. The boys have pulled dirt on it coming around the corner, and it's very slick.
The dirt is on top of the wood, in other words.
Yes, it's like in your automobile on the pavement with a little oil on it. It's very, very slick.
Well, they go pretty good coming off this, too, don't they?
Yes, I'd say around 60 miles an hour across that part of the golf course.
Got a fire up there where one of the motorcycles caught on fire, and this fire truck had to go up and try to put it out. These happen so fast, it's almost impossible to catch everything that went on. You say they race almost every week. Here's a good shot, these 51 and 25. What's 25?
Vern Hancock is one of the top riders in the United States here. You'd have seen a nice collision there.
Yeah, he went right on by him.
Very good. We have this scrambles type racing and this type of racing at least 40 Sundays out of the year where we race for free, for trophies.
How many times have you raced at Catalina?
5 years.
Well, that's every race, in other words.
Yes, I raced 3 years in the small bikes on the Saturdays race, and 5 in the open on the Sundays race.
There goes Vern Hancock again, 51. And right after this crowd shot, we have a good shot where the bike throws the rider clear over these hay bales.
Chuck Minert, number 179. Very, very top rider in this part of the country.
There he goes. Right back.
Those boys helping him in a motorcycle club. They're probably not in his, but they're sure helping him.
Here we're going from this bridge across the actual course of the race, during the race, right back into the finish line. You say this is one of the narrowest spots right here.
And this, yes, right through, after you pass the pit area, right here is a narrow spot on the course. Only the absolute best riders do any passing here, and not many of them do much, because it's very narrow, and there's a gully, you can't see it, but it's about 50 feet deep on the left.
And we drop off of this onto some pavement, back on the city streets again.
This is the most dangerous corner on the course in the pavement, coming into this corner. It's
Right
off
here.
camber. Yes, and if you get past the center line, you hit the curb, and it can get pretty tricky.
Yep. Here we come, the finish line. And the winner, number 98, Bud Ekins on a Triumph. I understand as soon as this was over, he went to, left for Europe. I imagine he'll do all right over there, too.
He was very good. Last year he raced in Europe, and he is on his way again this year to race. He did very well last year, and he's a better rider this year.
These checkered flags, they mean that they've finished the race, and the yellow flag means they have one more lap. The finishers in the race, second was number 60, Dubois on an aerial. Third, number 51, Vern Hancock on a matchless. Fourth, number 26, Good on a Harley Davidson.
This is Pat Zaremba riding a BSA. He's one of the youngest men in the racing game, top rider at 17 years old.
There we have it, Catalina Grand Prix.